Oh, it's just Jord.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this video. I know you're not used to this type of content on my channel, but I was up all night brainstorming, going through the old playthrough that I did, and yeah, so I recently did a playthrough on Little Nightmares, and how I love the game so much that I have done nothing more than just play it and record it, and I've done enough recording now to get towards the end of the story, and after that, I want to know more about the story, so I went and watched some videos and some of the potential possibilities of endings and meanings behind them. Anyway, before I get into the video, I will warn you there are a few spoilers ahead. So here's your forewarning, spoiler alert. So every time I've watched a theory or some sort of explanation video, they were great, they made a lot of sense. But when I watched them, I felt like there was something missing. Yeah, like some of the theories had holes, or there was just something that wasn't there, and it didn't sort of add up. It was true, but maybe not. Da, da, da. After looking around, I was left with more questions than answers. Then something got released. So on the official Twitter page, they released a tweet regarding, I don't know if it was Season Pass, or basically the DLC that's coming up. And their first DLC is called Secrets of the Maw, or Maw, whatever, how it's pronounced, whatever. Got me thinking about a lot of stuff, so I'm going to dive into the theory, but just remember, it's anyone's guess still. This could be completely wrong, or it could be completely right. In that case, I've probably ruined it for everyone. But just remember, it's just a theory, it's just Jord. No, sorry, it's just a theory. So my first question regarding the runaway kid, as it was branded, is why him? It seems to me that the developers' choices in the game design and story, etc., have all been on purpose and had some type of meaning behind it. And as I began to stare and read into the promotion a bit more from the original tweet, and then somehow go back to the sides, back and forth, something in my brain clicked, which doesn't really happen often, so, you know, my excitement when that happens. And I thought something was linked, so I stared at the image for some time and realised that I've seen this kid before. Now what makes me say that is, do you remember the very beginning of the game where you see Six needs to first eat? So, you know, she does the catch her stomach growl and blah 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 blah. At this point she goes up to some bars at the back of the level, or, you know, concentrating on the diner part. And there's a young man that's sad and alone in the dark. And he gets up and he gives some bread to Six. Well, I think, and I believe, and I theorise that the boy that gave the bread to Six is the runaway kid. And what makes me say that? Well, let's just talk about some factors regarding the appearance of the child. And, you know, let's dive into that. So you should be, if I've done some editing, you should see a very rubbish, picturesque drawing of me putting some bullet points or some links and whatever. So what I've got at the moment is the hair. Even if the game figure is dark, we can see the colour of the hair and it's still very dark. My best bet would be it's a very dark brown, almost like wet in a greasy brown. Even the style and the length of the hair matches. And if you go in game after he feeds Six, when he sits down and turns around and you see the back of his head, it matches even more from the promotional picture. So there's something we can link there, and it's the waviness and, like, you know, the emo-y look. It's the same length as well, which you can tell by each of the pictures. The one in the middle is the one from in-game, and obviously the one on the left and the right is the promotional pictures. Now they vary from bit to bit from colour innovation, but I reckon he is light brown. I mean, a very darkish brown. So then once you mix that obviously with certain bits of light and whatever, it's going to get a bit fuzzy, but I really do think it's the same hair. The shirt. Now the shirt from the image gives out the sort of, if you look at the dark one, it still gives you that blue sort of tint. Now I don't know if that's just me, but if you turn up the brightness a bit, you can sort of see some colour towards it. Now I don't think it's just blue, I think it's like a denim. And denim would also match the runaway kid's branding and outfit, etc, etc. And the length of the shirt, and so the arms of the shirt matches as the same one in the promotional picture, which comes down to obviously his wrist. And basically those two are the same factors, which are the same sort of positions and length. And if you sort of go towards the bottom of the shirt, where, you know, the end bit, you know, the opening of the shirt, it makes no sense to me, but anyway, with the opening of the shirt, it's got the same sort of bulkiness and the same positioning. It's hard to explain, but just look at the pictures and then you tell me what you think. But also as well to note that the actual shirt itself, in the promotional picture and in game, has a collar of some sort. It's like it's not a hoodie, it's a collar. So it's one of those, you know, real basic things. But with that being said, there's also the pants, and the pants, trousers if you're British, like me, and the pants are pretty much the same story. It's the same as the shirt. They look very closely to one another, and they're kind of like, I forget what they're called, like 3/4 length jeans, whatever the hell they're called, because they don't go all the way to the bottom of his leg. It's just enough length to leave some room for, you know, the chain and the ankle bracelet, which is, you know. And also the timing of meeting the runaway kid is really interesting, to say the least. Now, the developers have mentioned that the runaway kid will run into Six quite a lot, but what if this isn't the first time? So you'll see in the DLC. Think about the whole game in general, and how certain places are hard to reach. Some of the environment's been messed with, like little handprints and stuff. And if it wasn't for the fact of that lucky bandage rope that made it reach a certain point of the game, of that level, then you wouldn't be able to get up there, unfortunately. Something like someone's already been and done it, or helped. And that's where I believe the runaway kid comes into play. Don't worry, I get what you mean, but Jord, how will the runaway kid be able to make all those contraptions on his own? Wow. Let me give you some good old gnome knowledge. So in the promotional material for the DLC, it does state, and I quote, that the kid needs to make use of gnomes to navigate through the confined and shifting terrain of the engine room. Bingo. So we know that the runaway kid has been helped, or in fact working with the gnomes. So who's to say that the runaway kid hasn't been the one to make the gnomes their little hiding and secret rooms, as every one of those rooms has sort of a DIY makeshift feel to it. Maybe this was the runaway kid's payment for the gnomes helping around. So you know how they make, like, obviously the bandages, ropes and stuff like that, maybe that's why. And in return the runaway kid made hideouts for the little gnomes in case they felt threatened. But why would they help him and not Six then? Well, the runaway kid seems to be the child that came from the bottom of the Mao, whatever how it is, and where all the other children came from. So there could be the element of trust already, especially if these gnomes are, you know, the children. Or they could already know each other, you know, sixth sense and whatnot. And notice that at the start where Six meets a few gnomes, they run away. Well, this might have something to do with Six being part of the higher family, with the quotations lady theory that is now very popular on Reddit and it's floating around, blah blah blah, which could explain why the gnomes don't want to help her originally, because, you know, she's part of this bloodline of like weirdos with these powers. Then they're probably scared. The gnomes won't help her unless she goes into the hidden spots where the runaway kid has already gained trust, which is why they might like their hugs. Also, this could be the reason why Six, towards the middle of the game, spoiler, eats one of the gnomes when they offer her a sausage, because she doesn't feel the same connection as the runaway kid did, which the runaway kid obviously shared some moments, and that's why they hugged, maybe. But anyway, that's why maybe Six doesn't have no connection to them. She just sees them as vessels if need be. So why would he be eating dinner alone and in the dark? Well, I believe the DLC is before the time of the base game, and the end result for the runaway kid is that he was captured and kept in solitude, so locked away, everything. That's why I think he's eating alone in the hall when all the other kids are in bed, and it seems to me like he's being kept in isolation as a result of him trying to run away, which also explains why he's in his current state when he gives Six the food. How would Six know also to go to him to feed her at that certain time, blah blah blah. And another thing, 6 doesn't even have a gender, which is another thing. But after he gives 6 the food, he turns back into the dark room, curls into a ball, like he's emotionally given up. Which makes me lead to believe, you know, that all hope's lost. He's given up the will to go on, and he's just sulking about everything. He's now kept in isolation, no contact with anyone. It seems that all he does, he's not got his ankle bracelet on anymore because he's highly monitored. I think also, at the time where he gives out the food to 6, he's also being kind of watched by the janitor, because he's eating alone and the janitor goes into that room just before. So that's partly why I think the runaway kid is already the one we've met in the cafeteria or the dining hall. But I want to know what you guys think. I mean, this is my first ever like theory video, so sorry if it's really rubbish. But if you guys enjoy it, please drop a like. Drop me your ideas to what you think is going on. I mean, it's always a good tally when we all talk together. But let me know what you think. I mean, that's my interpretation of it. We'll have to wait until the actual DLCs come out, and boy, will I be playing them. So in the meantime, guys, I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you all soon. Peace.